Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been quite a while since I recorded, but here I am. And I am going to record while I do some of my makeup. Hi guys. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a bunch of different things this morning. One of them is how I manifest. How I deliberately manifested lowering my mortgage payment when a couple of times when the market was really bad and most of everyone's homes in Northern California was upside down, meaning the value of their home was lower than the loan amount. So I didn't freak out. There were times when I wanted to, but then I just had to let go of that, and I just kept on telling myself, I wouldn't even actually tell myself anything. I would just observe people. Just observe, and I would not join in conversations of any kind of negativity around the housing market. And actually, now I remember, I didn't join in any conversations about any kind of negativity whatsoever. And so I became kind of like, I would say a hermit, a spiritual hermit. I would just hang by myself. And if a conversation wasn't positive, I would basically get out of it somehow and just make it short or whatever. And then I would then go into my kind of domain, my own bubble, and just put in some headphones and listen to something that would make me laugh, or something inspirational that would remind me that I am greater than any issues and challenges. My potential is greater than any challenges, and I know that I'm always evolving, and therefore, it's sort of like you're becoming smarter and smarter and smarter. You're becoming more in tune, and therefore solutions start coming up for you. And so I remember I also would write a lot, and I would always say thank you for this mortgage payment that is now comfortable, thank you, and I just kept on saying thank you and thank you and thank you. And actually I was including my husband's businesses and saying thank you for his business, and they were going very well. His business was going well, and I got our mortgage modified twice, and then I also received a lump sum of money. I saw something that said, hey, for California residents, if you need assistance, there's money that you could apply for to get your mortgage paid down. And I thought, why not? And so I did that, and I also knew it. I also said, you know what, this qualifies for me. I'm a homeowner, number one, and number two, my house at the time was upside down. The value was less than the loan. So then I was like, right there, I qualify. There were other qualifying things, but I completely ignored that. And I stayed true to my belief of, I already qualify. So keep on transferring me to whomever, whatever. I don't know what you're saying about these other things that I have to qualify for. I have no idea what you're saying. All I know is that I qualify. Just send me the paperwork and I'm going to apply, and I know that I'm going to get it. And that's it. That's all I kept on saying, and I kept on having conversations with people. Even when I called the mortgage company, and they would say, well, you have to qualify for a modification. And I said, look, Obama at the time, he gave all of the mortgage companies a bailout. Okay, so therefore the bailout was supposed to be transferred down to homeowners. I said, okay, that qualifies me. And then number two qualifies me because the house was whatever, upside down, blah, blah. So right there, and I did have one conversation with someone who said, well, I don't think you qualify. And I said, okay, thank you, hung up the phone. And I thought, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to have them talk me out of it. I know what I know, which is I know that I qualify for it. And that's it. And so I knew also of people, family, friends, who were walking away from their homes and saying, you know, I tried, I called this, I called that, I called the lawyer, I had this and that, and it didn't work. And I said, okay. Didn't even try to convince them, hey, don't do that. I was just observing, using the Eckhart Tolle. Look him up, Eckhart Tolle. He is the guru of being in the present moment. And I just was in the present moment at that point. And I didn't even know that I was doing the Eckhart Tolle thing. But I just was observing other people's opinions and not having it talk me out of it. I was like, okay, and not even egotistical and saying, well, that's your issue or that's what you believe in. I was just like, okay, just not even having an opinion about it, just letting them say what they had to say. And then I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, aren't you blah, blah, blah? And I was like, we're cool. I mean, I am. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. You know, in the grand scheme of life, when you think about your life as of today, right now, right this very second, this morning, is everything fine? You know, I was kind of having a moment this morning, and actually last night. I have moments, for sure. And I started tripping, like, oh. And then I remember just recently, one of these gurus that we are now listening to, my husband and I, his name is Greg Braden. And man, that guy is amazing. Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, and Dr. Bruce Lipton. Those guys tell you the scientific principles behind manifestation, which is amazing. Amazing. I believe in faith. I know about faith, but what I was looking for was something more than that. It wasn't like I didn't have faith, but then again, in some situations, I didn't have faith because I felt like, so I just believe it and then that's it. But so it's like, okay, what else do you need when you have faith? And so it was interesting to understand the atoms, the molecules that are behind or underneath, or the reason why belief occurs, or like how to believe, how to have faith. What does faith actually do? How does faith move atoms and molecules? It is a trip. And so I remembered the other day Greg Braden saying, okay, now are you going to be a student of a student, or just a student and a teacher of a teacher? Like, are you going to just keep on teaching it? Are you going to keep on doing it? Or are you finally going to experience it, to actually go out and use it? And so I know that I am a spiritual tool hoarder. I learned so many things, and I have put into place a lot of things, but it cracks me up because I think, like, really, you got to read another book? But what I do understand now is that there are so many different ways to skin a cat. And so as I help other people, maybe the one tool I'm going to tell them about is not going to resonate, but then maybe the second tool I tell them about is going to resonate. Therefore, this is why there's so many different ways to manifest. And at the very end of the day, it has to do with our belief system. But people who are very religious, they may not even think about the particles and the atoms that they are moving, that they are influencing with their belief system. They just know religiously, like, okay, I believe in Christ. I believe that, he, whatever the Bible says about him, etc. Or him, but now I know that God is a her. Anyhow, that's another story. But let us be in the present moment. And a lot, and I already thanked the universe of my requests coming true. I didn't pray, they were requests. And so I thanked the universe for, thank you for this lowered payment, thank you for this, for Michael's awesome business, abundant business. I just kept on writing about it. And when you write about it, it's like you just write your story. And then what happens is, what's cool is that you write your own, it's like you're writing your own future. It's really magical. I suggest that everyone take just 2 minutes to give thanks for the things that you already have, and to give thanks for the things that you know are in your quantum field. I'm going to do another video about quantum field. It's so trippy. Never understood it until recently. So thankful. So, just have to tell you that when I start having funky feelings or bad feelings, I now know that kind of like a bad day can't happen. You can't have a bad day. You can no longer have bad days, because they're not really bad days. They're just accidental manifestations. It's almost like, if you're in wizard school and you have this pen and you don't know its powers, and then you accidentally, and this is what happens, like in any kind of movie where, a person realizes that they have powers, and then they do something, and they're like, oh shit, I just blew up, I didn't mean to blow up your car, or oh my god, I made a hole in the wall, oh shit, I didn't know that. It's like that. That's what happens to me, is that, oh shit, I didn't know, I accidentally blew up whatever, my calm, peaceful moment. I accidentally did that. In starting to believe in the negative thoughts as my truth. Oh my goodness, that is so trippy. And the mind, and thinking in the mind rather than the heart. Oh my goodness, I feel actually really in love right now. I feel so happy. Because as I'm talking, I'm just realizing and remembering that thoughts are energies, and this is why people feel good in certain places. Like when we go to Agape on Sundays, we feel really good. We feel really, 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 really good, because everyone there is all about love. That's what they're there for. They're there to feel the love, and they are there to contribute to the love field in their openness, in their faith, in their singing, in their vibes. Then there are places that feel maybe not so lovely. And so it is simply just a contribution into the energy field, whatever that may be. So it's really trippy. Energy is trippy. That's all I have to say. Well, I always have more to say than that, but yeah. So, just like people say about watching TV, they say, if you don't like the channel, if you don't like what you see, then change it. Rather than be one of those protesters to say, I don't like what you are showing on Channel 4, so I'm going to protest and take, I want you to remove those whatever things on Channel 4. That's just not going to, you're going to be more focused on negative. You're going to be more focused on, I don't like. I encourage you today to change the channel into a positive channel, to use your inherent right of free will. Humans are the only species that actually have free will, which is another word for choice. We are the only species on the planet that actually has the birthright of choice, which then activates the birthright of whatever you think about will manifest. Whatever you feel, no, not whatever you think about. Whatever you feel about. Whatever you feel is going to manifest. And if you keep on feeling those feelings, if you keep on feeling those thoughts, that is how manifestation occurs. It is not necessarily thoughts become things. It is the first step. Thoughts become, you think a thought, then you have an emotion of either love or fear, and then from there you have a feeling of the sub bullets of the two branches, either love or fear. Oh my goodness. I'm feeling pretty woozy with the awesomeness that's unfolding in my brain and the knowing. Anyhow, I'm going to end it there. Have a great day, guys. Change the channel if you don't like the channel. Don't be hypnotized by drama. Please don't do that. It can be hypnotizing. Don't be hypnotized by other people's business, okay? Don't be hypnotized by that. Know that if it inspires you to feel better, to be more positive, great. But create your own page. Create your own reality in the sense that be hypnotized with you. Look in the mirror today and really actually look in the mirror, look into your eyes, and just take a couple of deep breaths and be hypnotized by your own eyes. You are a hypnotic, positive being. Remember that. Blessings.